Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Brandon While Black. I'm your host, Shanae Washington, and my mission is to educate, empower, and economically develop my people. So, in the middle of trying to bring you all some really great interviews with some great information for some dope black entrepreneurs that's out here just doing the damn thing, I'm sprinkling in a few solo episodes so you all can get to know me and my journey a little better and see how we vibe together. So today I'm answering the question, did my marketing degree actually prepare me for entrepreneurship? Did it actually prepare me to run a business, to run a marketing firm? Did it really, was it worth the money, basically? And I want to start by saying this. Short answer is yes and no. So, going into the long answer. So, first off, I want to say though, I was not one of those people that like knew exactly like what they wanted to do like fresh out of high school. Like I changed my major. Like marketing was my third major. I started out in computer science and then in industrial engineering. So clearly, I really wanted to be in the STEM field, but y'all, the Lord did not did not see it that way. Cause Lord, them calculus classes, it was awful. Like, why do people have to know that stuff? Oh my God, it was terrible. And even though my little heart really wanted to be in the STEM field, I just really just was not like cut out for it. Like I was not as smart as my engineering friends, and I have several of my little engineering friends, but it just wasn't working. So eventually I ended up changing my major to marketing, and it was kind of like my last go at it because through me trying to be in the STEM fields and really not excelling in those classes, it really like wrecked my GPA. So I lost my financial aid. I had a whole lot of stuff going on. I was working full time. Y'all, I ain't had nowhere to stay. Like I was crashing in the boys' dorm. Like y'all don't even understand, but that's a whole nother episode that I can get into later. But my actual marketing classes. So I found my jam, like marketing was it. I adored all of the classes that I was in. I felt stimulated, I felt challenged, but I also felt in my element, right? And what I will say that the difference between having your like learning marketing in a classroom versus actually learning it on the job, it was definitely like theory versus application. And in class, like even in like your senior capstone class, like they have you take on this business and you're, doing a marketing plan and like you're actually going through the process of how you would actually in the real world, right? But it was still a very sheltered experience compared to how it is in the real world, actually dealing with real clients that has real money and they're trusting you with their real money to execute, to like generate more sales, because that's really what it comes down to, is that they're entrusting you with their money, with their hard-earned money or their saved up money, to for hoping that you can deliver on what you say you can do. So I would say that I learned most of the skills that I have now, like in marketing and branding. I learned most of that stuff on the job. I was always creative. I always had a knack for graphic design. I always had a knack for websites and like print work and actually strategy. Like I used to be in like middle school like running shit. Like I had like execution strategies and all kind of stuff, like, but that was like, but that's where I naturally excel in. So when I actually got a position at a company where I literally started from the bottom. I was a marketing creative coordinator, and it wasn't until then that I actually had that hands-on experience of actually seeing up close how these marketing campaigns actually come to life in real life. And it was definitely like an eye-opening experience, especially being on a ground level where you're doing like a bunch of like the grunt work. Like you're doing the research, you're doing like preliminary designs, and depending on like what kind of company you work for and stuff, but you're doing like the grunt work of it, which was the best teacher ever. And with me already having the creative background, it just really just all flowed for me, because I feel like your creative brand and your actual like the structure of your company brand, I feel like all of that is interconnected. So but in when I was in class, when I was like learning, they didn't teach a lot about branding. I like, of course, like we learned about it, but they literally could have had like one or two whole courses just on branding that I think marketers need in general to be able to get out of their program to be able to graduate, because there's still marketers out there that think that that it's all the same, and it's really not. It's really just two different things. Can they overlap and connect? They're supposed to connect, but they really, one is not more important than the other. You need both, and they really are standalone things. But I would say that with time, as I began to get more seasoned in my career as a marketer, as a brand strategist, as a creative, and letting the world inspire me, I feel like I was able to really make a good connection between what I learned in my marketing classes versus what I learned kind of on the job. And thankfully, I was able to take all of what I learned at that company and really just start my own creative agency where we focus on brand development as well as output of like creative assets. Now, I did write down three different ways that my marketing degree did help me in the real world in terms of with my career. Number one is I educate my clients. And since I have a fundamental understanding of marketing and branding, that I'm able to really teach them the fundamentals. And I do this through our initial branding meetings. Like I'm like as I'm getting information from them, like during our discovery meetings, through our branding sessions, like as I'm getting information through them, I'm teaching them at the same time. Like if I, because I don't use different terminology and all of that stuff to try to make it relatable. I don't do all of that. I want them to know exactly what it is, because if they ever get in the room, or if they ever are trying to get investors, or they're talking to a bank or whoever, and they're asking them very specific and pointed questions about their marketing and how they intend on succeeding all four quarters, like they need to know the terminology, and they need to know exactly what they're talking about, and not have some made up term by some guru, right? So I think I've been able to utilize that in a very positive way for my clients, because if they don't already know, then I give them that level of foundation, and I don't sugarcoat it. I try to make it relatable so that they can understand. But when it comes to actual terminology, I think that it's so important to actually use what the terms are. So number two is, I think that my degree, it really just gave me like a credential. Really, it gave me a credential with limited experience in different industries. So although you can get, your MBA and, your PhD and all of those different things around the field of marketing, I think that having some type of degree, I think that it helps in terms of when people are asking you about your company, especially if you're a new company, if they're asking you, hey, like, did you go to school for this? And, I think that it makes people feel more at ease, even though you probably ain't learned a lick of shit that you do now in that classroom. It's like a part of it's like woven into our society. It's woven into our society that, having a degree is like, it means like that, stuff, in which you do know stuff, but it's nothing like actually getting that hands-on experience. But your degree may get you at least in the meeting with potential clients. And the last one I would say is corporate networking. So, in short, do I think that getting a degree is a waste of money and time? I don't think that it's a waste of money and time. I do think that it's overpriced. I think that it's not worth millions of students going in debt over. And I don't think that I don't feel like the return on the investment, I don't feel like it held up to its end of the deal. And all I have in return is this piece of paper. I have some experience and I have a mountain of student loan debt now that I have to pay back. And I found a way to still use my degree, to in my business, which I'm very thankful for. But I don't know, y'all. If my daughter decides that she wants to go to college, like, that would really be her decision. Like, I'm not going to push and force her to go, and also, as a parent, if she does want to go, I'm going to do my due diligence as her mom, especially with my backstory, in helping her explore what her talents are. Like, what is she good at? What is she passionate about? Because that was something, like, that was why I changed my major so many times. And I'm saying so many, but like 3 is a lot. Like, because that would definitely like it sets you back. It sets back your graduation date. And, it was just a lot of unnecessary steps that I had to take to get to where I am now. And it, like, no slight to my family at all, because I was very headstrong on what I wanted to do. But I do think that had I been pushed towards my more creative endeavors and not so much, this is going to make you a lot of money, I do think that, where I am now, like, no telling how much further along that I could be. So those are just my 2 cents, y'all. So thank you guys for tuning in, but I want to hear from you. I want you to let me know on Instagram at Shanae J. Washington if you feel like your college degree was worth it or kind of like want. So, definitely connect with me on Instagram if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us or viewing us. And if you would like to get marketing tips and advice for your business once a week, I promise I'm not spammy. You could text BWB to 504-499-0857. And that's it, y'all. I'll see y'all next week.